This is Wings on the Air.
Hi, welcome to Wings on the Air. My name is Ann Edenfield Sweet. I'm the Executive Director and founder of Wings for Life International. Today we're going to talk about community support workers, a new program that's very exciting. We have some wonderful guests here today. Gary Webb, who is the director of that program for Christian Counseling World. And then we've got Renee Chavez-Mayes, who is one of the community support workers and has an awesome story to share about how she got here. So before we get into the details of this, Gary, I'd like you to tell us a little of your history. I mean, how long have you been doing counseling? And tell us what you've done.
It's funny. About 28 years I've been here in Albuquerque. We've had a clinic, and we did a lot of mood disorder, a lot of medication, a lot of things like that. But all of a sudden, a few years ago, God started leading us into a completely different program, and that is working with the people who are coming out of the camps, out of the homeless. And also, all of a sudden, God starts sending us people out of prison, Christians that have found Jesus in jail but needs to grow in that. And so all of a sudden, but of course, they need counseling, they need services, and that's what the Counseling and CSW program, Community Support Workers, is all about.
Wonderful. It's a great program. Now, Renee, tell us a little of your background and why this program means so much to you.
Well, I myself have spent over 23 years incarcerated here in the New Mexico Women's Correctional Facility. So many years of my life have been, I've been an incarcerated person. And so recently I have been allotted the opportunity to come out. Inside my faith was strengthened beyond anything I could possibly say in the little time that we have. I was given a platform to teach and to lead in peer education and just to encourage my fellow peers inside the walls. And because I had spent so many years inside, I had such influence. And that influence I used in the beginning as a negative influence. I mean, I had no desire for better. And then came my experience with God, and all I wanted to do was better. And so I have been blessed with the opportunity and the platform to come out into Christian counseling professionals, where his 20 plus years meet my 20 plus years.
Different experiences.
Exactly.
It's true. Really.
But from a clinical perspective, to the boots on the ground, been there, done that, and the way that God has perfectly cleaved or meshed those two experiences together, where we're now afforded the opportunity to reach up and out into the community. And whether we are dealing with returning citizens who, like myself, had an experience and have begun to transform inside and want to take that experience and put it towards professionalism on the outside. And also those, families and peers that need services, they need help walking along. That's what I do. I walk alongside people while they get up, just like has been done to me. So I've been blessed to do that under Christian Counseling Professionals in New Mexico, and it has radically transformed my re-entry, because I'm still returning.
Sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And of course, I've known you for many years.
Many years.
On the inside now,
Yes.
and also on the outside. And so, Gary, tell us about this community support worker program. What is it?
Well, let me just read the definition real quick,
Sure.
and then it's the purpose of the community support workers is to surround individuals, families with services and resources necessary to promote recovery, rehabilitation, and resiliency. The community support activities address goals specifically in the following areas. And we call them domains: independent living, learning, working, socializing, and recreation. Those areas, everybody seems to need certain ones. For instance, one of the most exciting programs that all of a sudden we just announced and everybody's coming out of the woodwork to do is the HiSET, which is high school diploma equivalency. And we're
wonderful.
teaching, we have it set up for the whole week, schedules of tutoring and things like that, so that, and we've gone with C&M and they will allow us to pre-test free for the people so that we know where they need help. Oh my goodness, we announced it and 16 people jumped up and says, please let us join that group.
When people turn their lives around, they want education because they know that's going to make the difference for them.
Absolutely.
And now you can help with that.
It is fabulous because a lot of these are coming out of we start working with them in addiction. I've got the best addiction people, and then not only addiction, but I tease Renee, we have the best time because she knows everything that I don't know, which is most of everything. So what happens is that with the teaching of these people, sometimes they need Life Skill 101. And so we have classes in Life Skill 101 because maybe they didn't get that because they've been doing other things.
Sure. Yeah. And of course, when, Wings for Life, of course, that's what we do too. Yes. And we know that some of those folks that you're working with get to come to our program because they need to learn the most basic of skills.
Which your program is fabulous, and we love partnering with you. Yes. That is the best thing.
So now how do you take your life experiences, your 23 years of your education, but now you can turn that around. So give me an example of how you're helping somebody in those 4 domain areas.
Well, there's so many different ways, but what I've seen the most where my history comes into play is with those that are struggling with addiction, and maybe they've been using, substance over 5, 10 plus years. Sometimes when you're in that predicament, it seems like that's who you are. You almost take on an identity like, I can't do any better. And it's almost like tunnel vision. So I get to come alongside people who want the service or sign up for the service, and I get to show them multiple different roads to take to get them to, and that starts by sitting them down and doing a one-on-one, client-centered motivational interviewing, just really trying to pull out, because it's not about what I want and what has helped me. Now I can show you everything that I've been through that has pushed me forward into where I am. But what is it about the individual that they need? First, let's get your basic needs met. Let me show up when I say I'm going to show up. Let me be that ear, that peer support. I want to hear you. I care about what you're saying. And I've found that so many times people just want to be heard. They've almost gotten lost in the system, and you hear that so much. And not just the penal system, but the system on the homeless system. The systems, period. You become just another person in the cheese line or at the welfare office. And so with me, I like to put you in my vehicle and take you to your appointments and drive you to and talk on the way and play encouraging music and just that motivation that shows you how important you are. And I think that that comes from me being so, I was a number for so long, I was just, another uniform. And so I know what it's like to be looked over, but I also know what it's like to be found or to be seen. And so it's such a powerful dynamic when you are seen. After not being seen for so long, it can just drive you, the fire inside of you. And so that's what I love. I love to let people be seen and to know that they have my cell phone number, and they don't have to take the bus. I like to take, women are my specialty, right? I work with men as well in families, but I like to take women and get them new outfits, because we have a clothing bank and we make sure that it's the nice of the nicest, because it's so good to feel good and not to be looked down upon. And so I think just working with the individual right where they're at, and then at their pace, showing them that we could do it together. And I think that's the best part of CSW.
Love that.
And that is part of the definition of that, is that we do that with them, not for them.
Yes.
Absolutely. And at Wings too. I don't do it for anybody.
Absolutely.
I'll help them, I'll show them, I'll guide them, but they must do it. And they have to. They have to. Empowerment. But you're treating them as a child of God, is what I would
Yes.
say.
Absolutely.
But with respect and
Absolutely.
taking their life experiences, whatever that is, validating that. But now we're going to help you to go to the next step where you want to go.
Right.
Not where you want them to go. Oh, I love that.
Yes.
So how does somebody get, Gary, how does somebody get into this program? So somebody's listening and says, well, I want a community support worker.
Well,
How do you
that's
do
right.
it?
Actually, and we are set up to where all they have to do is get in touch with us. We've got brochures. Actually, we share the Salvation Army building at Cole and Broadway, which is a really nice building.
But that's for people in Albuquerque. If people are outside, and people could be outside of the state or somewhere else.
Oh, yes.
How do they get it? Well, we've got your website.
We'll get website.
Publicize
They
the
can do
website.
telehealth and that type of stuff.
But so they get in touch with you. But who qualifies? Could I call and say, hey, I want a community support worker?
Most of it,
What are the
most of
criteria?
it is Medicaid.
Okay, Medicaid.
Our little therapists and community service workers, support workers are doing. They're compensated through Medicaid.
Okay,
And-
so number one, they have to qualify and be
You
on
have to be on
Medicaid.
Medicaid.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
And if they don't have Medicaid, they can call and we help them get
We
them
help them
on
get it.
So if
Because
somebody doesn't know how to
Doesn't
even
know
get
how.
into the system,
Right.
okay?
They don't know how to get in the system. They don't know how to get IDs. They don't know how to get a myriad of paper things that they need. Driver's license, like I say, HISAT or for education. And sometimes, and it isn't all work. We play. The recreation part is that a lot of people don't know how to play. And
That's
we
so
get
true.
into,
It is.
we teach them
And it's
to laugh
essential.
and to enjoy and to, not be the number in this kind of thing.
So somebody is listening, somebody's out there that says, I want a community support worker. If they don't have a lot of money,
They need to be.
help,
They need to be
contact
within.
you.
Actually, they need to be within New Mexico because our license and all of this programs are New Mexico.
For New Mexico.
Yeah.
But there could be other programs in other
It's same
states
deal,
and
same
probably
deal.
have funding in other states. But in New Mexico, so low income typically.
Low
because probably qualifying for Medicaid is what they need to do. And then children, singles, all ages.
All ages.
Anybody.
Anybody.
Okay. Now, so Renee, you've come out of the system, 23 years of prison incarceration. What have been some of the challenges that you've had to go through? Because I know they're huge and we don't have 10 hours today to talk about them. But quickly, what are some of those challenges? Because somebody else might be saying, I've got a loved one incarcerated. I'm sitting here in prison right now and I'm listening to this.
Right.
And what did Renee go through? And then I see her today and she's so successful. How can I reach that? So what are your challenges? What were some of those?
and I have 11 incarcerations and 11 releases, so I'm a reentry guru. The difference this time, the barriers last time were,
The past
times, in the beginning, a lot of it has to do with, maturity as far as where you're at and what you want inside. The change starts inside. Do they have support? Are they able to call home or get a letter? Do they feel supported? So the sense of belonging. So incarcerated persons can form a family unit inside in such a way because, especially women, because that's what we are designed to ultimately. And so if I put my roots down inside, when I come outside, I'm not rooted, I'm not supported, I don't have a sense of belonging. So when the judge says, send her back, I'm like, send me back. Because I have family there.
Yeah.
I have a sense of purpose there. I have meaning there. So people know me there. They care about me. They see me there. And so the difference was, first of all, that, the relationship that I submitted my life to Christ inside. And with that, I was allowed to teach and lead and begin to prepare for my release. And so in the preparation with the education and the, journaling was a big thing out here. So I'm what in slang terms, what they call prison ministry grown. people poured into me, ministry teams that went in, poured into my life. And I was seen in brief. They come in maybe once a month, once every 3 months, and I, treated with such dignity and love and respect. And it was like, wow, these people are amazing. And so I started to grow that way. And so coming out, I was surrounded by a team of women mentors, people who are rooted, women who are rooted in the community, people who cared and it mattered if I showed up or not. Accountability.
And how are you implementing that now? Are you able,
yes, so
is that what we're doing?
Yes, absolutely. And so for those loved ones that are, they're preparing for their family member to return to them, it's not easy. There's a whole lot of doubt going on. There's a whole lot of anxiety with the probation and parole and got to have this therapy and that therapy. And I don't have a car. I don't have no clothes. I don't have a job. I have a felon. I'm not going to get hired. So speaking life, number one, and just trying to roll, with the punches and be resilient with them because it is hard. And then whatever I'm going through, I paroled to my cousin and, it was stressful for her. POs coming in early in the morning, guns, strapped with, and the neighbors looking. And so just preparing yourself mentally that it's just for a season. And if we can just come around them and make them, encouraging words, even when you don't feel like encouraging them, you can versus, well, I don't know, that doesn't look like something you should, just having that I can do it, for them, and just the love and and that way, when things get hard, they don't have to run away and feel like I might as well give up.
Because creating community outside
so important
is
and accountability. I'm hearing that too. Family, whether it's blood family, marriage family, or
family of choice.
Family of choice. Thank you. Because surrounding yourself with people that believe in you, that are going to make you accountable.
Absolutely.
And that's what we try to do at Wings, because at our Wings for Life program, because
absolutely,
we miss them if they're not there. What's going on? What's happening to your kids? But now you could take that 11 times, my goodness.
11
I think
times.
I've never heard that before, 11 times of failed reentry, but number 12 is the perfect one.
Absolutely.
And now you're using it to help other people.
Absolutely.
Now, Gary, I'm curious because you've worked in all kinds of fields, and now suddenly this homeless and this returning citizen field has kind of jumped out at you. And why are you getting this sense of call to working with returning citizens and their families?
Every now and then, my wife reminds me that I should be retired. but the excitement that she and I feel about this is just overwhelming because doors have opened, just like being with Ann. And Renee comes and says, Gary, how can I help? And that kind of stuff. So these people are coming to us saying, I know Jesus, but I want to help these people get clothing, get this, get bread, get food, get all the things that you do as a community support worker. And so that's why we do it. It's just amazing to me because each day, just like 16 people wanting to do high school, I am so thrilled about that.
Yeah, they want to better themselves.
They want to
Well,
better.
and one thing that you might not know, these statistics, 1 out of 3 adult Americans have a criminal record that impacts employability. 1 out of 3.
Wow.
So that audience.
So we can employ them.
Yes, and
Which
now
is
you
good.
can employ them. Hey,
That's
look at
right.
that.
That's exactly right.
And 1 out of 2 Americans are going to have an immediate family member in prison or jail during their lifetime.
Yes.
That's 50% of our population. So
I'm
it is
one
a
of those.
huge. So now you've got an agency that can hire returning citizens to help people that want to make change in their lives, and then they can come back. Now, Renee, let's just say that somebody's listening and they got a family member.
Well, wait a minute. One thing is that we're able to also get them jobs. That's what a lot of the community service workers, where all of you placed all those people you were telling me about. I got jobs here, I got jobs there, got your people working.
There's another skill that comes from my past, right? So, I've always been so good at, working the system. But you think about juvenile and all the way into my adulthood. I mean, it's just the way I grew up. Well, now what I've found is very successful is when I have a returning citizen or someone with a record, I go before them to the interview. I go make connections in the community. I act as the bridge, and I go speak to the management or and I try to find these organizations that will listen to me before they walk in with the tattoos and because there's one thing that I know about people incarcerated, and that is because they got that ding on their record, they will work that much harder, that much longer to please their employer. So if I could just get in and kind of, make that highway a little smoother. And so that's how I've been so successful in housing and helping returning citizens get employment, is because I make community connections,
And that's wonderful. So you can actually go out on their behalf and do that.
Yes.
Now, can you help a family member? If somebody's sitting, and listening to this show and says, oh my gosh, my daughter, my son, whatever, my husband coming home, can you help the family to start preparing, to start the connections with that returning citizen? Gary?
Exactly. What happens is that they keep talking about warm handoffs. We want to be right there when that particular person that we hear about and know and comes out. We want to hold their hand and bring them into community. One of the returning citizens that is working for me says, Gary, I've gotten 2 degrees while I was incarcerated, but I'm terrified to come out because I don't want to go back to my home because it wasn't a good place. I don't have any money, and so that's who we want to grab and hold and get into our programs.
Okay.
So
and
if a
Renee?
family member is, I've seen so many times where, people incarcerated have such great families and they are at a loss. They're like, well, why won't they come on? I used to be that. My grandfather had a beautiful home in the Northeast Heights. I had my own room. I had everything I wanted, but I always ran away. And so, the families can get frustrated, and absolutely they can call us up and we can start, preparing for, how just all they have to do is ask for a CSW that has been incarcerated or has lived experience,
Which we have several.
and they will
Quite a
connect.
few.
There's several of us, and then they can meet with us and we can assess the situation. Absolutely, because this relationship between Gary and I hasn't happened by chance. I tell him all the time, when I first met Gary, my spirit leaped inside of me, and that's got to be the closest thing to Elizabeth, when John leaped in the womb with it, because it leaped inside. I got so excited, but it's because, my dream is to, create a platform for incarcerated persons to come out and have a place to make a living wage and to have a sense of purpose. And, and I believe that this relationship right here is, and that is what is in the making. And I think that's why he can't retire, is because it's so exciting. It's absolutely so exciting. I mean, how could you retire at a time like this?
That's it. That is exactly
And I always love positive stories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you right now. Now, you've got a positive story right here, Gary, but is there somebody that just jumps out at you that, boy, you hadn't known this person before and now you got to meet them through this program? And
Actually, I was checking around some of my workers, actually, and this is a positive story because it's a fabulous story. It has a little downside. There was a woman that we got into the battered women's shelter because she was in the sex trafficking, got her out, got her safe in community, got her in that, and now we are moving her toward occupations and all kinds of things.
Wonderful.
So it's, how much better. And, the old starfish story, it made a difference to that one.
That's right.
If it's just that one.
just that one. And I'm sure, really, every person that you meet, there's a positive story. Now, there are going to be some people that make mistakes and slip through, but I'm sure you've got some stories, too, about people that you've been able to help. Is there anything in particular you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I have numbers and numbers, but I've been doing this for about 1 year and 4 months, and I have to tell you that while I was out tilling the soil, working the field, putting people in houses, I think I've housed hard to house individuals in this community. I'm on number 14 in the last year.
Wow.
And but while I was housing the hard to house, making connections with landlords in the community so I could go before them, before their records, you know, before they see what's on their records. While I was doing that and filling their houses with furniture, with the community connections that we have, I made a connection where I was given a 3-bedroom home to start my own transitional living home. And
my
so
goodness.
now because what I saw is I was placing women and men and everywhere as they got out of jail or prison, and I'm putting them in these places. And I walked along one woman who was coming out of domestic violence, and I put her in a home, and everywhere around her was cussing and smoking and gossiping. And that's when it dawned on me, I need to put a home where it's God honoring, where they can come be sheltered and safe, you know, and have that atmosphere,
have counseling,
and have the wraparound services. So through working on the behalf of others, God blessed me with a 3-bedroom home where I can now place 5 women, and they can receive Christian counseling and wraparound services. And the house is beautiful. I mean, and it was all all I had to do was show.
Of course.
So that's been an amazing part. So as I was housing the hard to house, a house was gifted to me so I can put the precious gifts into there now. So.
And very quickly, Renee, is there if you had one request for the corrections department, because you spent a lot of time there, what would it be?
It would be for corrections to let me back in. I have a message and I have a curriculum, and I have a passion for women incarcerated. And it's time that we provide these men and women with opportunity to belong to something powerful, and use those gifts that they've been using to deal drugs and steal vehicles and, use drugs in a positive form, to help people get up and to strengthen our society and to strengthen our community. And so if I ever get that platform, it's all
Well, I'll be pushing for you to come out. Of course, we'll be going to those prisons.
Because
and
that's
reaching out.
exactly, we want Renee to be able to be
train CSWs.
Yes, and to train them when they come out, they're already
That's right.
ready to go.
There's going to be a
management.
place for everyone.
Absolutely.
Well, I knew this was going to be a great show. Thanks for joining us
Thank you,
today.
Ann.
Wings on the Air. It's sponsored by Rainstar Capital Group. It's managed by Regional Director Bob Moore, and you can reach Bob at his website, Bob Moore at rainstarcapitalgroup.com. And he does all kinds of financial resource planning. He's done it for years. His phone number is 505-331-4246. Again, 505-331-4246. Of course, you can join us on our website, wingsforlifeinternational.org. Thanks for joining us today, Wings on the Air.
Wings on the Air is sponsored by Rainstar Capital Group.